What is up, everyone? Movie Wayne back again with another review. This is going to be for the 2023 film Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and it's directed by Peyton Reed, who has done all three of these Ant-Man movies now. And it stars Paul Rudd, Michelle Pfeiffer, Evangeline Lilly, Michael Douglas, Catherine Newton, and Jonathan Majors. This tells the story of Scott Lang and his family finding themselves trapped in the quantum realm, a universe within the multiverse. However, they aren't the only ones who want out of here, as a deadly villain named Kang seeks to conquer the planet. Well, there's been plenty of back and forth this week of people arguing about comic book movies in general, the latest one getting plenty of one-star, terrible reviews, and a certain movie studio getting lots of flack. And that can only mean one thing. That's right, it's Marvel movie release week. I must admit I go into these movies now with the lowest of expectations, mainly because of all the first reactions about the movie and all hell breaking loose about Marvel online. But Ant-Man is a character I've always actually enjoyed, and Paul Rudd is always great in this role, and this feels like his biggest adventure yet. While staying very simple with its formula that a lot of these movies do, it's a formula that works for me. But within its story, Ant-Man Quantumania does actually try to be a little bit more ambitious than a lot of the other movies in the franchise. Taking our characters into the quantum realm opens up another load of possibilities where these movies can go now. Kind of like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. They've created another huge portion of this universe of theirs, and I've got to take my hats off to Marvel for being so creative. It may not work for everyone, but you can't doubt that they're a movie studio that's going for it. And all these characters in this film are fun to be around. Michelle Pfeiffer definitely felt like the most elevated character here. There's a lot of backstory and her past, which is revealed to us, and she felt like a more important character this time around, definitely to the story that's attached to this film anyway. And Michael Douglas is always fun in these movies. I love his little cocky-ass approach to everything. And Catherine Newton, who's introduced to us as Cassie Lang here, who has been played by a different actress before this, I know, but I love her as an actress, and she was great in this movie as well, bringing a positive aurora to every scene that she was in. And I've been a big admirer of her as an actress after seeing The Map of Tiny Perfect Things and Freaky in the past. And I always thought that she will go out to be this big actress one day, and this is a huge stepping stone for her. Paul Rudd is as perfect as ever here as Scott Lang / Ant-Man. I mean, he just shoots this character down to a T, doesn't he? And his comedic timing is always on point. And whilst this movie isn't as over the top with the comedy like Thor: Love and Thunder was, this still provides plenty of laughs. And for me, it always works. And you can't really go to a Paul Rudd movie, can you, and not expect some comedic relief, especially when it's a Marvel one. Jonathan Majors, though, who seems to be about to have his breakout career in 2023 with Creed 3 up next, was definitely the biggest positive about this film for me. We are only teased now and again about this guy called Kang by other characters in the movie, and they're kind of hinting at how ferocious he can be and how much they fear him. And after he actually turns up, it was definitely worth the wait. I thought it was a really, really good build-up to this character, because you can just feel the hellfire inside of him. Even when he's just speaking calmly, it's a command and scream presence. He brings this determination and a goal in mind that nothing is going to get in his way to get what he wants, and that brings a real threat to humanity and otherworld inhabitants within the MCU here. And you listened when he talked, basically. He demands your attention, and this just made him the best villain I have seen since Thanos. He also has this little side character in the movie called MODOK. Now, I don't want to go into too much detail about him because I will end up giving spoilers and stuff, but for me, he was one of the best parts about Ant-Man Quantumania. Now, I can see a lot of people hating this character, but with the humour he brought and the ridiculous look he had, it actually worked for me. And I do feel like he was meant to look silly in this movie intentionally, especially when characters within the film are mocking his look and saying how ridiculous he is, and, you know, he's such a dick, basically, which gets muttered a few times. And I think a lot of people may miss that. But for me, I definitely got the intention from Marvel there that this character is just meant to be plain daft. Now, I do have a bit of mixed thoughts on the quantum realm itself here. While this is all designed really impressively, and especially the creature designs of these these inhabitants who live in this world. And I can imagine the crew drawing all this up on the drawing board and everyone being wild at the table. After about 30 minutes or so, you realise that this is kind of just one big light show, and you kind of can't unsee it. I mean, I could just see a big green screen behind these characters in this movie. I mean, you can't see it, it's invisible, but in my mind, that's all I could see, and I couldn't get away from it. I mean, I just couldn't quite detach myself from that thought. This will definitely not happen to everyone, but for me personally, I couldn't quite get away from it, because this is by far the most CGI heavy Marvel movie to date. You could say this about a lot of the locations in the Marvel movies, but this one was just a little bit overbearing. It was all just a little bit too much. And whilst all the cast here do a great job, I've just got to single out Evangeline Lilly here as the Wasp, because she kind of felt like she was tagging along. She definitely was the least interesting character behind Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, Catherine Newton, Scott himself, Jonathan Majors. She just really didn't do much. And for the film titled Ant-Man and the Wasp, there wasn't much Wasp, which is kind of a shame, because the rest of the cast really done a job here. I'm not saying she was bad in the movie or anything. She just didn't really bring much to the table. Also, by the end of the movie and the post-credit scenes, I was kind of left wondering to myself if the future path of the MCU is going to be for me. Now, of course, I'll probably watch all of these movies that come out, but I just don't feel like the story path is as exciting as the one leading up to Thanos trying to take over the world. And the way they are going, is it all going to be a little bit too much? There's nothing wrong with being ambitious, like I said at the start of the video, but it does feel like it may be slightly over ambitious, let's say. But we'll see. I'm not going to judge it until I've seen it. Overall though, guys, I had a fun time with Ant-Man Quantumania. It's definitely not Marvel's best. It'll probably be more towards the lower end of the ranking, to be honest, but that's not a bad thing, because this is a very, very strong franchise, in my opinion. All these movies are kind of fun to me, bar two of them, really. I'm just going to go ahead and rate this movie now. I'm going to give Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania a 7.5 out of 10. Another Marvel movie that didn't turn out to be as terrible as everyone said it would be. Okay guys, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is that this is the second trilogy in the MCU to have the same director for all three films, the other one being John Watts for the Spider-Man movies. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed this review. Please consider subscribing to this channel and giving this video a like. It would really help me out. What are your thoughts on Ant-Man, Quantumania and Marvel in general? Leave it down below and I'll try and get back to you all, I promise. Take it all easy guys, and I'll see you on the next video.